So guess what? We're talking about AI. Who would have thought? We'll throw out some questions and then we'll make some bold statements and we'll see how these guys react to it. So first, I'll start with a question. So I mean, everything we're hearing from the tech space, radical efficiency, AI, the first jobs, the first impacts we're seeing is going towards engineering, support, a few others. Curious to see or to hear from what you guys are seeing. Are you seeing the same, or are there other departments where you're seeing a major impact at this point? Gary, I'll start with you.
I think, look, when you think about engineering and things like that, that's the obvious, right? Because what is AI? AI is about enabling people to do better. So the way to enable people to do better is to look at where there's mundane happening. But what we're doing is we're now seeing frontline salespeople who are doing automated call notes. Things where, how to prepare for my day. Hey, I'm meeting a new client today. I need to know more about them. I don't want to do 60 Google searches. Why don't I just do an AI search? So I think what's happening is, we saw it first in technology because they were the test bed for anything that's coming into a company. But as they're putting it out into the business, we're seeing that the actual users are actually now picking it up and they're running with it in some cases. And so I think everybody's looking for, how can I get stuff done a little better? How can I eliminate asking a human to it? AI doesn't, yell back at me if I asked a dumb question and things like that. And it makes some of the things a little easier. So I think it's very, very widespread. It depends on what kind of company, but I think it's very, very widespread.
Yeah. Thoughts, guys?
As a technology leader, one of the things I'm always doing, I think these guys are probably always doing as well, is trying to spend our scarcest resources on our most differentiated problems. And that's something that we're finding across engineering, across all the other internal back office functions, including sales, I completely agree with all the things that Gary just said. We're levering our best employees. We're retraining and rerouting some of the other folks who can be doing more valuable things. Yeah, we're seeing it across the board.
No, thank you guys. Great to be here. There are two things I want to share here. First one is just like any other organization, we are also looking at different ways how we can enable the organization goals. It's primarily around driving growth, driving efficiency, and providing a great experience. At the same time, we also have a challenge as well, like many companies. If you have heard about the Martech's law, where the technology innovation goes rapidly and exponentially, whereas the organization changes very incrementally. So as CIOs, how do we address this widening gap? And this is a number one challenge that I'm going through as well. And we have been through some use cases and examples where we can make it work. So,
yeah. Awesome. Well said. Let's shift you guys to the buying perspective. So you guys are buying software. You guys are giving a final approval. As it pertains to the PS world, what are you guys looking for in terms of efficiency gains? I mean, what's being talked about at your level?
So as a buyer, being a CIO, it's all about OPM. You know what OPM is, right? I spend other people's money at the end of the day. But I have to spend it efficiently and effectively. So the problem is I'll probably go through more of a testing of things and figure out there's value here before I buy it. But then when we look at a PS organization, what we look for from you is teach our users how to make that work. And I think that's key. I have this saying, I say it all along, we talked about it. Most of us, when we put technology out into the field, it comes out like, everybody has a Prius, please don't get mad at me, but it looks more like a Prius. It's an economy car. But most of us don't develop economy cars. We develop Maseratis. Now, how are you going to teach my users how to drive it like a Maserati? You see, then they come back to me and they go, ha, that was great. Hey, I got a lot of business value out of that. Hey, we're no longer talking about software. We're no longer talking about licenses. What we're talking about is business value. That's the bridge there. How does it come from, I can foresee that there's business value, but I can't tell people. And I look for professional services to bring that part into a company so everybody says suddenly Gary's the greatest thing in the world. He brought great things to us, not great software.
Well said, Jim.
Most SaaS software, and I could say that without offending anybody on this stage, I think, it isn't really designed to be shaped like the business that it's trying to power. It's not actually designed to be terribly usable, really. It's designed to demo well and be easy to sell, be easy to package in SKUs. So, one of the values that Palantir brings, that my folks try to bring with our customers, is this product taste. This knitting the product that we're selling with the problem that's trying to solve, ultimately bringing value to whatever it is, the problem that we're trying to solve in the customer. So we have the expertise with our thing, we don't have the expertise with whatever the thing is we're trying to buy. And the professional services folks who come in to try to integrate, install, and train our folks, to Gary's point, again, I agree with everything that he said, they bring that product taste, that like how to actually fit the thing to the shape of our business and actually solve our problems with it. That's the thing we value tremendously.
Yeah, with regard to PSA software or any SaaS software, there are like a couple of things that we primarily look for, including my leadership team. Number one is why are we even having this situation? What is the current state? What are the pain points? What are the challenges that we have, and what is the resulting impact of not doing anything about it? And based upon that, like what is the key capabilities that we need? And then the third one is, okay, how do we enable those capabilities? And what is the ROI and value? That is the fundamental things that we look for. And then we see like what is the right technology solution fit that meets our current state and also a future state, and also show us the industry trends. We may not be the experts in the PSA, but we love to see vendors provide that thought leadership. Maybe we have to change our internal processes and policies and to make it work. That's the fundamental equation that we look at.
Awesome. And of course, confirming the Rocket Lane's the vendor of choice, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, just kidding. Just kidding. Lot of lessons learned with AI. I think, you know, from my perspective, when AI's first launched, people said, oh, ChatGPT is Gen AI. Obviously, it's evolving to agentic, and it's going well beyond that now at this point. What have you guys seen either at your companies or across your network? You guys, across this stage here, work with the top 1,000 companies in the world. So you guys have an interesting perspective. But what are the lessons you think that have been learned so far, and you know, what are the biggest takeaways?
You know, we learn from everything. And I think AI taught us a couple of things. AI taught us that we have to make people curious. We have to make the end users curious about the technology we're rolling out and curious enough to redevelop their own roles. Because that's what this is about, right? We're introducing not a technology, right? We're introducing a solution. The problem is it's very hard for any one of us to sit out there and decide that technology can do part of our job better. I remember when I worked at one of the banks, they asked me what my role was. I said I answer email. Because for 300 mails a day, I spend most of my life, 8 hours a day, answering email, right? That became my job. It wasn't my job description, that was still CIO, but it ended up being, that's what I did for a living. So how do we make, the lessons I think we're learning now is we have to teach people to adapt. Now, the good news is there's a cohort of workers coming in, called Gen Zs, which we love. Because in the AI world, they're so used to it. They live it in their day lives. They're so curious. Now the other workers are looking around going, how are they doing that? So I think one of the lessons we learned is, how do we make people curious? But the other side of it is this. As professional services, you gotta help us with storytelling, real life examples. If you work with 10 clients and one client solves something, tell your other 9. Okay? Be that person who's just not showing them how to implement software, but they're telling them how to make the car run great. Because you know what? That makes them curious. That makes them say, wait a second, and you don't have to reveal names. If the other client decided to figure out how to, hey, we got the hiring process down to a couple of days because we use AI, well, I'm gonna do that too in my organization. So it's curiosity, but it's giving them that real life things that are going on that I think we see changing right now, AI in the field.
That's a tough act to follow. There's a truth that's emerging. There are several truths, I think, that are emerging. I mean, the companies that are creating durable value with AI in their enterprise are those who are starting with fundamentals of their business. So, you know, when AI, the modern generation of generative AI first came on the scene 18, 24 months ago, there's a lot of like wizard's wand, sort of like demo magicware kind of stuff, where like, you know, you wouldn't have to worry about writing emails anymore, and then you also wouldn't have to worry about reading emails anymore, and so all of these things are just transacting with each other and creating all this nonsense in the world, whatever. The demo is great and it looks really flashy, but ultimately creates little to any actual durable value. And so a lot of CIOs were getting a lot of pressure from their boards of directors and their CEOs to go out and buy the widget because they didn't want to get left behind, left out of the revolution. We just trusted that you build the thing and some value would ultimately accrue. the organizations where value is actually accruing are the ones that are approaching AI as just another tool, albeit an